Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to my final rankings for 2025. As of the end of 2025, I've ridden 186 coasters in 58 parks across 15 countries, 173 made of steel and 13 made of wood. I've ridden a total of 684 laps on roller coasters for a total of 414.5 kilometers of track and 631 inversions. I'm very excited to be back making content again after what has been a very difficult year and to have gotten episode of 11 of Coaster Odyssey back on the rails, and I hope you're excited to see plenty more in 2026. You guys voted that you'd rather see a full ranking of all 186 credits this year, so this video is going to be a countdown of number 186 all the way to number 51, and then tomorrow will be my top 50. The top 50 will go into slightly more detail, while we might breeze through some of the sections of this video a little bit quicker. Before we get underway, I want to give a big thank you to the Keith Monorail Army. You guys make all of this content possible. You really do help. So if you'd like to become a member of the Keith Monorail Army, like our generals, Scaretastic YT and Rowan McMaster, click the join button down below. And without further ado, let's dive into this ranking because it's going to be a big one. Coming in at number 186 is Toboggan, which I rode at Schuberfour in Luxembourg. This is a chance toboggan, and I think this might be one of the worst coaster models ever made. These things have really low ceilings, so you just smash your head against them, and what better idea when you have a coaster that has a low ceiling close to your head than to include some airtime on it, some very janky airtime. I think that's a fantastic idea, and yeah, can't complain at all. Great ride, 100%, fantastic. Absolutely not, it's a piece of shit. I hate toboggan, and I hope that it gets scrapped soon. Number 185, Hero at Flamingo Land. Another coaster model that I'm sure everyone has similar thoughts on, the Zamperla Volare. This is like being thrown around a layout in a metal coffin. It sucks. It's one of the worst parts about it is that you have to put your feet on these ladder rungs almost, and my feet kind of didn't fit on any specific rung. They were in between. So not only was I getting tossed around in this little coffin, I was also sliding back and forth. It's just relentless. It's such a stupid restraint idea, and I hope that all of these disappear off the face of the earth very soon as well. Number 184 is Motor Coaster at Dreamworld. It is no secret on this channel that I hate this coaster. You can even buy merch about how much I hate this coaster, link in the description. But yeah, no, another terrible restraint system. As you can tell, one of the things I hate most on a coaster is a restraint system that is just torturous. This thing puts so much pressure on your knees, so much pressure on your thighs and groin. It is really uncomfortable, and then it offers absolutely nothing in return with a completely forceless and boring layout. Just absolutely sucks. Dreamworld, Greg, if you're listening, knock this thing down and put in an awesome flume in its place. We'd love to see it. Number 183 is Black Hole 2000 at Soulland. The worst looping coaster I have ever been on. Yeah, just jank from start to finish. You can tell you're in for a bad experience when you've got a serious lift hill pulse going on, and also just extremely hard over the shoulder restraints. This thing has a weird layout. I'm sure that you've seen it before. It was featured in Squid Game, and there's been a few creators much bigger than myself who've gone and ridden it recently. It's got this bizarre layout where it sticks really high off the ground all the time, but it's just got these dumb transitions that are absolute car crashes. The whole thing's really rough. It does barely anything at all. It just sucks. Number 182, Cobra at Connieland. Yeah, this thing was the Coaster Odyssey inclusion for Switzerland, and Switzerland, please build something better than this. What was this piece of trash? It is so rough. The restraints suck. They really are not designed for the level of hang time that you get on the beyond vertical spike as you lift it up. It really sucks. And then, of course, worst of all, that famous scorpion tail element, the vertical loop leading in. has G-forces that cannot be described. They must be illegal in some states and territories. They just, the headache that I had getting off this ride, I cannot tell you how bad it was. Really sucks. Number 181, and our first new credit for 2025, Jungle Trailblazer at Oriental Heritage Xiamen. The Timberliner trains, I'm starting to learn, are very, very bad at absorbing roughness, and then combined with that, you have those hard lap bars that mean that the roughness becomes pain in your hips. And I thought that was bad enough on Leviathan or on Cuchulainn or on Wood Express or even worse on Tonnerre de Zeus. But I hadn't experienced anything yet. Jungle Trailblazer is an absolute train wreck from start to finish. The whole thing is so rough. It is impossible to enjoy. Now, there were some moments of airtime. There were some good moments of airtime, but I couldn't enjoy that airtime because I was just bracing and trying not to be in agonizing pain from how awful this ride was. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Please stay away from it if you possibly can. Number 180, Guderick's at Park Asterix. Now, full disclosure, I rode this when it still had the hard over-the-shoulder restraints. They've recently put in vest restraints, so it may have improved. I'm sure I'll go back to France and I'll find out for myself at some point. But ranking it off when I rode it, this sucked. This really sucked. Now, admittedly, it's got some great inversions. Really interesting layout, particularly for something that was built in the late 80s. But oh my god, just so rough. And the transitions are just all out of whack. They just do not work at all, and it ends up just destroying your collarbones. Absolutely relentless ride that is just all pain from start to finish. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. And add to that the fact that you have to take your backpack on this ride. And considering that I was basically traveling and backpacking across Europe, I had everything I owned in that backpack. So, yeah, I was clinging on for dear life. Yeah, Guderick sucks. All right, into the 170s. Coming in at 179 is Infusion at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I still don't know what compelled me to ride this. It was a walk-on, so it didn't really take me any time. Park was about to close. But still, what did I expect? It's the worst of the SLCs I've been on. It has the over-the-shoulder restraints, so a bit of a headbanger. And also, I just thought that the presentation of this one was far weaker than the other two I've been on so far. So, very unpleasant ride. Didn't like it at all. And yeah, if you're at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, there are a lot better things to be doing with your time than going on Infusion. Please don't make the same mistake I did. Number 178, Arkham Asylum Shock Therapy, formerly at Warner Brothers Movie World. This is the second of the SLCs I've been on. This one has the comeback restraints from the same as, I believe, T3 at Kentucky Kingdom was the other one that had them for a while. And the problem with these ones was obviously not headbanging, but they would compress down on your thighs during the forceful moments. So it ended up being probably equally as painful. Definitely equally as rough as well. It was, absolutely relentless. But it did have some nice elements of theming, and I think I slightly do prefer the comeback restraints over the shoulder restraints from Vekoma, because, I'd rather get, stapled pretty hard for a little while than bash my head through the whole ride. Number 177, Maya Adventure at Formosan Aboriginal Culture Village, the final of the SLCs, and the reason that this one wins is purely because of its theming. This thing has a temple built around the lift hill. It's got this beautiful plaza all around the layout of the ride. So as much as it really, really sucks, you do get a cool interaction with a waterfall, and it just looks really, really nice. So it's got something going for it. Still does suck. Still very rough. Headbangs really bad. But, it looks good. So I guess that there's something going for it. Number 176, Mount Tangula at Fantawild Dreamland. The second of my new credits to appear on the list so far. This is a Jinmar Rides mine coaster. Holy shit, this sucks. It was my first experience of a Jinmar coaster, And it didn't give me a very good first impression at all because first problem, the transitions are just, it's like they were designed by a 5-year-old. There are some real car crash moments. It's absolutely awful. But then to make that even worse, the seats are just hard plastic, rock solid plastic. And they also have this design imprinted into the seats. It almost reminded me of like they were trying to make it look like they were park benches or something like that. And that just made it so that your butt just did not sit properly on that seat at all. So you just slammed all around that train through those terrible transitions. Yeah, relentless ride, and it sucks. It really sucks. Number 175, the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Controversial that it's down this low, but you'll know if you've been around the channel since I went to the UK that I was not impressed. Not impressed at all with my first Arrow Hypercoaster. I'd been told to be prepared for the first drop. I was told that was the highlight of the ride. For me, that was the worst part of the ride. That drop just slams you so hard into the side of the train. It's really painful, and then the rest of the ride has very little to offer. I suppose I could give it credit for the views and for its overall speed, but it's rough. It doesn't have any actual airtime. The transitions are arrow transitions, so it's like, there's more uncomfortable moments than decent moments. I hated the big one. I'm going to go out and say it. I really hated the big one. Operations were also pretty weak on this ride as well, so not impressed. We're going to start flying through some of them here because I do have a bunch of kiddie coasters coming up. At number 174 is Dragon Express at Adventure World. Dragon Express is the worst kiddie coaster I've been on. As anyone who's been to Adventure World Perth will know, it has an awful just rough layout that it's very weird because I've been on a couple like this from Zamperla. It's the same as SpongeBob's Boating School Blast is a newer version of this same coaster model. So I don't know why this one sucks so much, but it does. It's just really rough and janky, and the transitions suck. It's awful. Number 173 is Zoom at Flamingo Land. Yeah, this one is not one that I truly hate or anything. It's just a really bad design. Like your legs don't fit in it at all if you're even a remotely taller person. I know that I'm a particularly tall person, but even if you were, a solid foot shorter than me, you'd probably still have problems. There is no leg room in those cars. And then for all the effort that you go to get into the cars, the ride does absolutely nothing at all. It just meanders around. So this one's definitely just for the kids. Number 172 is Kenny's Forest Flyer at Dreamworld. This is a Vekoma Hang and Bang, and it lives up to that name. Heavy over the shoulder restraints. They really suck for this style of ride. They're totally unnecessary for this style of ride too. And yeah, they just pin you down by the shoulders while you rattle around this very mediocre layout that is really poorly paced, loses all of its speed just all of the time. Particularly compared to the other Vekoma SFCs that we have around the country, this one, it needs to go. Number 171 is Minnie Mouse Cartoon at Park St. Paul. This is a Zamperla Minnie Mouse. Don't hate it, just doesn't do anything. It's literally just, zigzag all the way down. I guess there's some okay laterals for a coaster that's going about 15 k's an hour, but yeah, there's nothing to this. This one's purely for the kids. Number 170 is Family Coaster at Walligator Grand Est. Now, I want to disclose, I don't hate Wacky Worms. I think there's some good Wacky Worms out there that I've been on. This one's just not one of them. It's very poorly maintained, very loud and rattly, quite rough, and yeah, absolutely no effort whatsoever put into the theming. So little so that it reminded me a little bit of the rides that you see at the Royal Easter Show, where they've just got knockoff versions of Disney characters painted all over them. Yeah, literally this. So this ride kind of sucks, and I think it's emblematic of the state that park's in overall. It's good to see that they're picking up a coaster from the closure of Oakwood. Hopefully that tiny bit of investment might bring a bit of love back into that park, because God, they need it. Right, the 160s. Coming in at 169 is Sahara Twist at Liufu Village Theme Park. This ride was a real letdown. It does nothing at all. I've been on another Intamin Twist and Turn, which you'll hear about later in this ranking, and I was expecting some decent things from this, and it just didn't do anything at all. Really, really slow layout, poorly paced, barely gets you spinning at all, and not even the fact that it does 2 laps can make up for just how little this coaster has to offer. You might as well not ride it. Number 168 is Rattlesnake at Chessington World of Adventures. I have not had a whole lot of experience with Wild Mouse coasters now that I think about it, but the Maura ones are not my favorite. Those restraints are not great. The cars are very, there's very little padding or anything involved in the design, so it's very unpleasant when you're going through the strong lateral moments, which of course on a Wild Mouse there are many. So yeah, this was just generally overall quite unpleasant, which I wasn't expecting, because usually I'm kind of a fan of Wild Mouse coasters. Number 167 is Velocity at Flamingo Land. I'm kind of dunking on Flamingo Land throughout this video, and this is one that I think that the first one of those that I think will be controversial, because I've heard some people say that they really like this coaster. I do not, and this one was the one that cemented that I just generally don't like motorbike coasters. It's just, why would you want to be sitting in a straddle position with a hard seat between your legs on a coaster like this, where one of the predominant forces is strong positive G's? It's just a recipe for disaster, and I found it incredibly painful. I thought the hydraulic launch had some oomph to it, which was nice, but other than that, this ride was just agonizing, and I didn't like it at all. Number 166 is the monorail at Don Mosley Playground. I had to heavily nerf this coaster, because otherwise it would be number 1, indisputably, and it just wouldn't be fair to all of its competition. This is Grant Telfer's masterpiece, and I just had to dock a whole bunch of points off it just to make it fair to everybody else, because it's just so good. It's completely unstoppable, and the Keith monorail is the greatest coaster ever invented, but with its various handicaps, it finishes at 166. Number 165 is Dragon 2-Loop Coaster, formerly at Gyeongju World. I believe they've now replaced this with a new Zamperla-powered coaster. When I rode it, it was a fairly generic one, just with the standard Dragon train. Looked like it was probably even a transportable model. Not a whole lot to say about this. I did have a very miserable day at the park that day, because everything else was closed, so perhaps that affected my opinion of it, but either way, it's not that great. Number 164 is Dragon Coaster at Everland, literally the same ride. Dragon Coaster gets slightly ahead because the views are pretty damn good. You can see out down over the hill towards T Express. Pretty spectacular location, so same ride, not much difference between them, just wins for the views. Number 163 is Dino Roller, formerly at Flamingo Land. I just found out this one actually closed earlier this year or last year or something like that. This was a Cavazza Diego model, and yeah, weird kiddie coaster. Old, janky, not a whole lot of clearances around the track, not a whole lot of speed picked up either. Yeah, not a lot to say about this one. Number 162 is Little Nipper at Luna Park, Sydney. Don't have a lot to say about this one that I haven't said already. Pretty standard kiddie coaster. Don't really like the restraints. I think that this model overall was a mistake for Luna Park, because it doesn't fit with their height restriction system either. It does have a pretty uncomfortable lateral slam through the station, but other than that, it's fine for what it is. Number 161 is Tobot Train at Seoul Land. I thought this was the strongest of the Zamperla powered coasters in South Korea, because even though the theming's not great, it has some, and I thought it was slightly smoother. I might have been mistaken with that based on some recent reviews I've heard, but that was just my impression at the time. Number 160 is Speedy Beetle at Luna Park, Melbourne, moving up to the SBF spinning coasters. I've been on a few of them. This is one of the 2-loop models, the lesser themed of the two. It does have some good lighting, so if you ride it at night, it's pretty fun. You get 5 laps out of it too, which is pretty damn good ride time for a ride of this size. But otherwise, don't have a lot to say about it. Sometimes the spinning can be pretty fun. Into the 150s we go, and at 159 is Ladybird Loop at Emerald Park, the better themed of the 2-loop SBF spinning coasters I've been on. I find this really charming in terms of appearance. Love the theming elements. They kind of went above and beyond with actually their whole kids area. It's very, very charming looking. So yeah, same ride. This one wins for theming. Number 158, Big Red Boat at Dreamworld. Another one that I find that the theming just in general is quite charming, and definitely a smoother and more modern Zamperla powered coaster that, just is feels a little bit more, I guess, put together. It feels better. Number 157, SOS Tournevis at Park Asterix. This is a Zira Tivoli kiddie coaster. It's a bit jank. It's all right. It's got a good length of layout, very long trains as well, but yeah, there's a couple of janky moments. I'm not sure I'm a fan of this one. Number 156 is Crazy Coaster at Adventure Park Geelong, the longest of the SBF spinning coasters I've been on with 3 loops, and I think that overall that has slightly pushed it ahead in my preferences just recently. I still don't like the fact that they've added those over-the-shoulder seat belts. I don't think that that's necessary, and I think that's actually quite uncomfortable, but it is a longer ride that has a little bit more variety to it, so I kind of give it that. Would love to see some theming and lighting added to it, though. Number 155 is SpongeBob's Boating School Blast at SeaWorld. Mentioned this one before when we were talking about Dragon Express. Definitely improved version of that layout from Zamperla. Good theming on it too. Just a fun little kiddie coaster. Don't really have a lot of complaints. It's remained smooth. Even now, oh my gosh, that ride is 10 years old. I've just kind of processed that. Remains smooth. Pretty accommodating for adults too. Can't complain. Number 154 is Mini Mine Train at Window on China Theme Park, or Window on World Theme Park, whichever you prefer to call it. This is a Vekoma Junior coaster, but it is the shortest layout of Vekoma Junior coaster, the 85 meter model from memory. So it basically functions like a kiddie coaster. The benefit is you have the older style junior coaster restraints, which are far more accommodating for adults. So you'll have absolutely no problems riding this if you're an adult. It is just an oval layout, but it's pretty fun, quite smooth. I liked it. Number 153 is Coastal Ant at Happy Valley, Shanghai. The weirdest coaster I went on this year, by far. What the hell is this layout from Jinmar Rides? In terms of clearances, it has none. It's got a very weird layout. Just absolutely bizarre. This little like wacky worm style up and down part with like these helixes. It doesn't do a whole lot, and it's not awful, but it's there, and it does those things. Number 152 is Roller Coaster at Green Valley Farm. You have to like this coaster. It is a legal requirement on this channel to like this coaster. It's actually my very first credit, and I think it's fantastic. You can just ask Blake from Park Chat or any of the other people I've taken down to Green Valley Farm recently. Fantastic. Out of this world experience. You have to get there and try it out. Number 151 is POM at Park St. Paul. We've got the other 2 wacky worms that have been on here, and these 2 have actually put a bit of effort in. POM was really, really pretty. It's the only one I've been on that's actually got the big apple, and it has a bigger apple than usual that's like right in the middle. It had like misting fans in it, and there was theming all over the place. Very smooth, enjoyable, good little kiddie coaster. Number 150 is Bug Run at Aussie World, the best of the wacky worms I've been on. They put so much effort into the theming on this thing. It is immaculate. Aussie World, you didn't have to do all that, but you did, and for that, I love you. It's fantastic. Bug Run is excellent. We love Bug Run. We stan Bug Run. All right, for the 140s, coming in at 149 is Gonzalez Roller Coaster at Crystal Mountain. Bizarre little park, bizarre little ride. Doesn't have a lot of forces to it or anything. Has a longer layout than most other kiddie coasters though. And, it's pretty smooth. I like it. Can't complain. Number 148 is Tiki Tok Train at Soulland. Now, imagine, if you will, a wacky worm, except it's got janky lateral airtime if you ride in the back seat. That's pretty much Tiki Tok Train. Give it a go. Make sure you get the back row. Expect to be thrown. Expect it to be painful. But expect it to be bizarrely good. It's a bit weird. Number 147 is Mining Racer Coaster at Gambaya World. Similar to Tiki Tok Train, this does have some bizarre laterals. Not quite as strong, but enjoyable. Very enjoyable. I think it's also a nice looking ride. It's probably the best kiddie coaster in Australia. Gambaya World have done a really good job with this one. Number 146 is Aerotrain at Park St. Paul. This one's a bigger scale coaster, so it's actually like a weakness that it's down this far. The layout on this is not great. It doesn't do much for me. There's quite a lot of straight track involved in it. I believe this was relocated from somewhere strange, so I'm not sure if it was a custom layout designed to fit a very compact space, and now it's at Park St. Paul and it just doesn't work. I don't know. It's bizarre. It's a strange Vekoma Junior coaster. Number 145 is Troublesome Trucks Runaway Coaster at Drayton Manor. I thought this was a charming little family coaster. Very small scale, but it does seem like it's marketed at small kids since it's in the Thomas the Tank Engine kind of area. So kind of slow, not very much forces, but it's comfortable. I like the Gerstlauer restraints here. I'm actually surprised Gerstlauer haven't built more of these. Number 144 is Jormungandr at Drayton Manor. Slightly better than Troublesome Trucks, mainly because it's nice and scenic, it's got a longer layout, but it is very slow. It doesn't do much. It shows its age. It's been around since the late 80s. I think it's an absolute classic of the park at this point, and I'd be devastated if they were to get rid of it. And I think it fits nicely with the new Viking area as well. So I hope it sticks around, but it's pretty slow. It's kind of more of a like a scenic train ride than a roller coaster. Number 143, Voldikare at Park Asterix. This one's a weird one. I hadn't experienced one of these older Zera coasters before. It feels very exposed. It's very similar to, I guess, the Mark bobsled coasters in that sense. They're very kind of low to the track and very exposed seating arrangement. This one was a bit, felt a bit janky. The track's a bit rough, and I didn't think there was a whole lot of force to it. And along with that, obviously, compared to the rest of the coasters at Park Asterix, it just doesn't look anywhere near as good, and it doesn't ride anywhere near as well. So, yeah, middle of the range for this one. Number 142 is Little Rattler at Leofu Village Theme Park. This is a Vekoma Junior coaster. It is the standard 335 meter layout. This one is rough as nuts. They have not maintained this well. It did open in 1993, so quite a bit older than the other 335 meter layouts I've ridden, but still not maintained well. It is quite rough. And when you consider, I'm sure a lot of my viewers have been on Roadrunner roller coaster at the very least. When you consider how that ride has a tendency to kind of throw you around laterally, roughness is not something you want to add to that equation. So it doesn't really do very well. I like the layout generally, not on this one. Number 141 is Roof Junior Coaster at Idar Theme Park. This is a Fabry spinning mouse, and they've put it on the roof of the indoor section of Idar Theme Park. So it's, I believe, up on the 4th or 5th story. It's got great views out over the rest of the park and out over this part of Kaohsiung. But the Fabry spinning mouse is a weird one. The layout's a bit strange, and in this particular case, all of the mid-course brakes hit so hard that they pretty much slow you to a standstill. So pointless ride at the end of the day, because you never pick up any sort of speed to get you really spinning and get those lateral forces going. Strange ride, good views, not very good. Number 140 is Herky and Timmy's Racing Coaster at Everland. This is another Vekoma Junior coaster. This one, the trains run backwards, which just adds a little bit of something to it. It runs around this cute little area that's got some good landscaping. Nothing in terms of theming, but like it's a good looking area. This one lacks a little bit of force compared to other junior coaster layouts though, so I can't give it too many points, but I guess having the trains backwards does kind of make up for that in a sense. You do get that element of surprise, so it's alright. It's time for the 130s. Coming in at 139 is Mine Express at Lee Power Discovery World, another 335 meter Vekoma Junior coaster layout. Theming here is a little bit dilapidated. They could do with a bit of TLC. We'd love to see that get a bit fixed up. Is slightly shakier and has the older style restraints, but overall, can't complain too much about it. Number 138 is Enchanted Airways at Universal Studios Singapore, another 335 meter layout. Don't know what this is doing at a Universal Studios park. Shout out to you as well. All of the other ones in the Harry Potter lands around the world. Don't know why you're there, but you know, it was fine. Theming was mediocre at best, and I'd like to see them do something a little bit better with this plot of land. Number 137 is Roadrunner Roller Coaster at Warner Brothers Movie World. The best of the 335 meter layouts I've been on. I like the theming the best. I like that they've gone to the effort of getting the upgraded trains, which have definitely grown on me. I still think they've got some problems with that T-bar style restraint from Vekoma, but I think it's an improvement nonetheless. And it's probably the smoothest of the ones I've been on, the best maintained. So it gets the highest spot. Number 136 is Family Coaster at Children's Grand Park. This is a rare credit that I've been on. It's at a random park in Seoul, South Korea. It's a Vekoma SFC. It's one of the modern ones, so it does feature the nice lap bars and everything, but this layout's a bit weak. It doesn't really do much, and also I found it very rattly. It has a significant rattle, but overall, it's pretty alright. This was a cute park, but it didn't have very much to offer. I don't think I'd go out of my way again. Number 135 is Flume Ride at Ida Theme Park. This one's a weird one. It's a Ride Engineers Switzerland Flume Ride. It technically counts as a credit because there is a dry track section in the lead up to the second chain lift. From the outside, you look at this ride and you think, you know, there's going to be theming involved here. This is potentially a themed flume ride, and I'm going to go on a bit of an adventure here. Definitely not the case. Theming non-existent. In parts, the ride is actually ugly to look at, and really all you're riding this for is the final drop. Now, admittedly, the final drop is spectacular. It's fantastic, and it hits the water in such a bizarre and interesting way where it just drenches you from head to toe. So I loved it, but yeah, not a whole lot to offer. I can't rank it too much higher than this. Number 134 is Wild Train, formerly at Park St. Paul. They've actually demolished this one. I believe that's going to be a trend throughout Europe because PAX, obviously being a Russian company, it's going to be pretty difficult for places in Europe to get spare parts from PAX going forward. So obviously Fantasiana have gotten rid of their Wild Train, so too have Park St. Paul. This one was an off-the-shelf layout, unlike Fantasiana's, and it's just a bit janky. It's kind of, you know, it's got some good airtime off the first drop if you're towards the back of the train, but after that it's actually quite violent and just very, very janky. Some good forces, but yeah, not one that was ridden lightly. It was very, very aggressive in the laterals department. Definitely one that I could have imagined could have hurt some people from time to time. Number 133 is Crazy Mouse at Soulland. Another very bizarre credit that I have. This one I believe to have been built by Senyo Kogyo, and it's supposed to be a wild mouse, but it has Arrow or Vekoma Looper style cars, complete with the over-the-shoulder restraints and the deep, high-sided trains with the high rails that sit up in a U shape off the thick spine. So it's very interesting. It doesn't have a whole lot of force to it, not a lot of laterals or anything like that, but it wasn't uncomfortable either. Obviously the restraints aren't great, but it didn't do anything that was painful or anything like that. So I think that it was one of those coasters that you could almost laugh at and be like, this is so bizarre that it's actually kind of good in a weird way. I mean, it's pretty ugly, but, it was an interesting experience. Number 132 is Crazy Elves at Happy Valley, Shanghai. This is a standard Zamperla spinning mouse, and this one has not been well maintained. It's very rough. It makes a lot of loud crashing and banging noises throughout the layout. Not painful in any way. I do like the Zamperla spinning mouses very much over the Reverchon ones because they have more comfortable restraints and those kind of bigger cars that tend to be a bit more forceful. But yeah, this is not one I would re-ride. It's definitely a standout at Happy Valley for low quality. Number 131 is Anaconda at Walligator Grand Est. This is a huge and beautiful wooden coaster. It's absolutely spectacular to look at. I also really like the trains. I think that they look really nice and they're quite comfortable too. The only problem with this ride is that it does jack shit in terms of forces. It does nothing the whole ride. It's not rough, not painful at all, but there is not a single ounce of airtime. There has been more airtime on some of the kiddie coasters that I've put below this coaster than on this wooden coaster. It does nothing. It does nothing at all. I guess it's kind of fast. You get some decent views off some parts of it, I suppose. But yeah, one of the most shockingly forceless coasters I've ever been on. Number 130 is Flight School at Emerald Park. This one is charming, but I think actually, overall, it's probably what I think is Emerald Park's weakest coaster package. The theming's a little... I get what they were going for with the airport, but it comes across as a little clinical. And the Zero Force, it's a fun family coaster, but don't go out of your way for it if you're missing ride time on Kukul and Orfina Force. That being said, one really, really good thing that Emerald Park does is that they give you 2 laps of ride time on their family coasters as well as their kiddie coasters. So you do get some good ride time on this one compared to some other family coasters that I've been on. So that's worth considering. Down to the 120s, we're making some great progress through this countdown. Coming in at number 129 is Spuck, which I rode at Schuberfour in Luxembourg. What a weird ride. Europe is full of weird carnival rides, and Spuck is no exception. It was built, as far as I can tell, by a company called Barbizan, who don't have the best reputation when it comes to roller coasters, but this one is a nice blend of part roller coaster, part dark ride, haunted house. I loved the haunted house section, full of actual live scare actors. They were, it was quite intense. Really, really liked that. The coaster, it was fine. Can't complain about it. Very, very short. It's also got these rotating cars. Very strange. You just have to go and experience Spuck for yourself. I can't really explain what it is. Number 128 is Sapphire Speedster Coaster at Magic Mountain Marimbula. Standard off-the-shelf Pinfari Zyklon. I've always found that the operators on this ride are the absolute best. They're always the most charming people, but the ride itself, nothing to write home about. Standard Zyklon doesn't really do too much at all. Number 127 is Mysterious Cookie Train at Lotte World Adventure Busan. This is a family coaster by Preston and Barbieri. I really love the theming. It's very, very charming. I found the ride was quite smooth, but it was mispaced in some sections. It has some very weird pacing that kind of, it's very weird and off-putting. Too slow in some sections, too fast in others is how I would describe it, but it's fine. It's a decent family coaster. Number 126 is Surf Rider, formerly at Wet n Wild Gold Coast. Now you'll notice that there's a big gap between this ride's first ranking and where it ranks later on its relocation, and that is because at Wet n Wild, this was the most unreliable piece of junk in history. Barely ever operated. That being said, when it did operate, it was okay. Good float, pretty short ride cycle, was supposed to have water effects. They never worked. The operations were always pretty poor. I think that's largely because most of the staff there were trained as lifeguards, not as ride operators. So it was kind of a stretch to get people to do that. And I'm sure the maintenance teams were like juggling their expertise in terms of water slides versus roller coasters. It's very different fields of work. So mostly just the operations and the maintenance made this ride barely worth going on at all. Number 125 is Boomerang at Luna Park, Sydney. Fun little family shuttle coaster, great views, slightly obstructed by Coney Island. I really wish that you could see the Sydney Harbour Bridge from the top of Boomerang, but unfortunately you cannot. There's a good little pop of airtime off the first drop. Overall, it's smooth, pretty zippy, pretty fun little family coaster. Not too much to complain about at all. Number 124 is Twist Coaster at Suzhou Amusement Land Forest World. This is a Jinmar Rides small version of their spinning coaster. It's a knockoff of the compact version of the Zamperla Twister Coaster. And it's fine. It actually runs pretty well. There's one janky little transition in it. But other than that, it runs perfectly fine. No complaints at all. The restraints are good, the ride is smooth, you can spin quite a bit. I didn't really get a ride that spun great, but I did see it happen, so I know it can happen. It's fine. It's a good little coaster. Number 123 is Roller Coaster at Suzhou Amusement Land Forest World. This one was a bigger surprise for me. It's brand new, just opened in 2024. It's a Jinmar Rides family coaster, basically their version of like your Vekoma Junior coasters, that sort of thing. Comfortable restraints, smooth ride, good transitions. You wouldn't have shocked me if you said it was just a weird design by Vekoma or Zera or someone like that. I loved it. I thought it was fun. It's a bit short, but overall, for a family coaster, it's pretty good. Number 122 is Roller Coaster at Taipei Children's Amusement Park. This is my only credit by IE Park. This one had some surprises to it. It's a family coaster overall, but the first drop has a little bit of oomph. I kind of liked it. Overall, a little bit short as well, but some oomph to that first drop, some good little lateral moments. Can't complain too much at all. Yeah. Number 121 is Plantation Coaster at the Big Banana, my first Alpine coaster credit, which was my last credit of 2025. This one, as far as Alpine coasters go, as far as I'm aware, because obviously this is the first one I've ever ridden, this one's a bit short. It doesn't have like the usual long twisting layout that can go for several kilometers that most of them do. There's a couple of helixes on it that have a little bit of oomph to them, and there's good views. I think the auto braking is a bit excessive on this one, and I think just overall the fact that it's pretty short is a bit of a letdown, especially if you do get a slower rider in front of you. But overall, for this park, I think it's an okay inclusion. Number 120 is Scenic Railway at Luna Park, Melbourne, the world's oldest operating roller coaster at the time of recording, and it's alright. It's long. Depending on the brakeman that you get, you can sometimes get some fast moments, but also you can get some very, very slow moments. So this one's a bit hit and miss. Ride it mostly for the nostalgia, for the history, and for the scenery, and you'll enjoy it. Sometimes, as a little bit of a bonus, you'll get a bit of airtime, but don't count on it. You'll see. Just see how you go. All right, we are up to the 110s, and coming in at 119 is Canopy Flyer at Universal Studios Singapore. This ride is way too short, but it's smooth and fun. I love the fact that you can ride it backwards. Just like to see maybe just an extra half again to this layout, because it's far too short for what it is. But other than that, it's good. Number 118 is Twistosaurus at Flamingo Land. This is the Zamperla version of the compact twister coaster that we talked about before. It's better. It's got better restraints. It doesn't have that janky transition into the final helix. And on my one ride on it, I actually got it spinning pretty well out of control, which made it actually a really fun ride. I really liked it. Number 117 is Crazy Coaster, which I rode at the Hawkesbury show in northwestern Sydney. The first of the Revachon spinning coasters on this list. They're pretty generic. I don't like their restraints, but they're fun little spinning wild mouse coasters. This one, it's traveling model, a little bit uglier than the other one coming up on this list, but it was fine. Number 116 is Wild Mouse, which I rode at Schuberfuhr in Luxembourg. Again, Revachon spinning coaster, traveling model, exactly the same, but a little bit prettier and just nicer on the eyes. Number 115 is Jacko's Coaster, which I rode in Trevor Jackson's backyard in Pahiatua, New Zealand. Definitely my rarest credit. This is a backyard coaster, and it might be the best backyard coaster in the world. It features an 80-degree first drop, 13 meters total drop height, and it's got incredible ejector airtime over that drop and then the rise out of it. The rest of the layout doesn't do a whole lot, but for the fact that this was engineered and built by one man in his backyard is just incredible. It's such an outrageous backyard coaster, and I'm delighted to have experienced it. And yeah, it deserves a spot at 115th on my rankings. Number 114 is Taipan, which I rode at the Bass Hill Family Fun Fair in Sydney. This is an SDC Galaxy, and for those who are Australian theme park historians, you might remember it as the Thrill Seeker at SeaWorld. It had a life at SeaWorld before going on the traveling circuit. This one surprised me. It's very, very fun. Got some great airtime off those drops because of those very freeing restraints. It's still just a Galaxy / Zyklon model, but I was very surprised by that airtime. I thought it was actually a really forceful little ride. A lot of fun, particularly in the back car. Number 113 is Spartan Race, formerly at VinWonders Phu Quoc. This is a Vekoma family boomerang, or was a Vekoma family boomerang model. It's now been relocated to another VinWonders project elsewhere in Vietnam. A little bit rattly compared to some of the other ones I've ridden. It's the same layout as Accelerator at Drayton Manor, but yeah, definitely rougher and not as well maintained. So overall, it loses some marks. Number 112 is Fridolin's Verrückte Zauberexpress at Fantasiana. This is an ART Engineering family launch coaster, and the theming on this might be the most charming theming I've ever seen anywhere in the world. It's adorable. I absolutely love it. Overall, the coaster's not a whole lot to write home about in terms of forces, but it is unique, and it is smooth and enjoyable. I like the ART restraints. But it's all about that theming. So cute. So cute. I love it. Number 111 is Snoopy's Great Race, formerly at Universal Studios Japan. This is the only coaster I rode on my visit to Universal Studios Japan. Be nice to me. I was 10 years old, so I was pretty scared of coasters at the time. This is the old version. They now have a Vekoma family coaster in the Snoopy Studios section. Before that, it was a Senyo Kogyo family coaster, and it was all right. It was pretty cute. Nice little family coaster, pretty comfortable from what I can remember. And the theming was very, very good, with some nice moving elements and interactivity. So I really liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Number 110 is Gold Rush at Rainbow's End. This roller coaster was built in-house by Rainbow's End, and they've done a very good job with the theming, very good job with the kind of indoor section there. It's actually really, really well themed, which makes it so remarkable that all of that work was done in-house. Overall, the coaster is a bit janky and the layout is a bit weird, but it's a lot of fun, and I think there's a lot of charm to everything Rainbow's End have done, particularly around their in-house rides. They also built their log flume in-house, and it's probably the best ride in the entire park. So Gold Rush is definitely worth a ride. Do expect a little bit of roughness though. Ooh, we're approaching 100, and coming in at number 109 is Cirrus Verte at Parc St. Paul, the last of the spinning mice, well, almost last of the spinning mice, last of the traditional spinning mice. It is by Zamperla, and it is, just pretty good. I like the Zamperla restraints a lot better than the Revachon ones, and this one is nice and smooth and pretty damn fun. Number 108 is Puss in Boots' Giant Journey at Universal Studios Singapore. This is a weird ride. I like it though. The theming is very charming. It's got a good storyline to it. The coaster doesn't have a whole lot of force to it, but it's smooth, it's unique. I like the fact that it's got an egg beater lift hill. That's bizarre. Who knows why Universal built one of these here, but you know, it is what it is. Number 107 is Corkscrew Coaster at Rainbow's End. Standard arrow, loop, and corkscrew. Very interesting for its history, very interesting for its kind of layout. I love the rainbow track on one of the corkscrews, but overall, a little generic. Number 106 is Dingo Racer at Aussie World. This is the very last of the spinning mice. This one is an interesting, different layout from Revachon. Their stall turn layout, which has only ever been installed once permanently here at Aussie World. It's good fun. I love the stall turn element. I think it adds something a little bit different. But again, the Revachon restraints are a weakness here. The theming's nice as well. They've included some nice touches here, but I'm a little bit unsure what the theming is supposed to be. Number 105 is Accelerator at Drayton Manor, yet another one of our Vekoma family boomerangs. Good, fun twister layout with some good lateral moments, relatively smooth, especially for its age, and great theming inside the queue as well. I did not expect that. That came as a very big surprise. Number 104 is Quest at Emerald Park, another Vekoma family boomerang. This one I rode when it was absolutely brand new. It is glass smooth. It runs through the beautiful Tina Nog area of Emerald Park, which is just so well landscaped and beautiful. I love the tower built around the final spike as well. Pretty good forces, a few little hovery moments of airtime, and very, very smooth. Number 103 is the right side of Kansas Twister at Warner Brothers Movie World. This is another Vekoma family boomerang. It's dueling. I haven't been on the left side as of yet, but the right side was open the last time I went to Movie World. Decent theming in the station, decent theming in the first part of the queue that kind of then dies out. But what is good about this little family boomerang is it does have a little bit of oomph in that first turn as well, which is nice. Not sure it's the right ride for this park, but it works. I like it. Number 102 is Dark Ride at Ida Theme Park. This is a Vekoma Junior coaster that has been modified in a few ways to become kind of an indoor family roller coaster. Quite smooth. It's pretty new for a junior coaster, and you have the drop straight out of the station and then the lift hill at the end. The theming is quite good. It's very bizarre, but it's a good, fun little family coaster indoors with good theming. Can't really complain. Number 101 is Dino Dash at Emerald Park. This was a very pleasant surprise from Emerald Park. They've got animatronics on this ride, which is very surprising. Animatronics that actually spray water at you as well. It's pretty new, so a new but albeit short Vekoma family coaster model. Very smooth, some good little moments, particularly when it comes to kind of your lateral moments. Bit short, but overall quite good. Number 100 is Armada Invincible at Formosan Aboriginal Culture Village. This is a Mark Super Splash. It looks immaculate. This part of Formosan Aboriginal Culture Village is so beautiful. Just cannot emphasize how beautiful this ride is to look at. But of course, it is just a super splash. It literally consists of a small dip and a drop, so I can't rank it too highly, even though I did really like this ride. Number 99 is Laser Blast at Window on China Theme Park. This one came as a surprise. This is another indoor Vekoma Junior coaster in Taiwan, so similar to Dark Ride at Ida Theme Park, but this is an older one. It was built in 1993. And there's not a lot of theming in here. There's just like basically some fairy lights and lights around the track, but bizarrely, this thing has a lot of lateral force. It's actually quite intense. So it's actually a pretty fun ride for something dark and indoors. I really, really liked it. I thought it was pretty strong. Number 98 is Space Mountain at Formosan Aboriginal Culture Village. This is their Vekoma indoor family coaster, and it's bizarrely good. Decent theming, some really good lateral forces, the fast, zippy layout in the dark. You've got inline seating on this one as well, which makes it just feel that little bit more compact and a little bit more zippy and tight through those turns and everything. So it's pretty fun. I really like Space Mountain. Number 97 is Storm Coaster at SeaWorld. This is a Mark water coaster. Nicely themed, not a lot to it. There's a helix and a drop. That's really it. Definitely not a worthy replacement for Bermuda Triangle, but it's fun. I do like the last drop. It's got some good floater airtime and definitely a good splashdown as well. Although I do think they could have made the splashdown outdoors just so it was a bit more of a scenic moment. Number 96 is Galaxy Express at Oriental Heritage Xiamen. This is a Vekoma SFC. It is the why am I forgetting my numbers now? 453 meter model, same as TNT and Flight of the Wicked Witch. This one has a rattle. Definitely the least smooth of that clone model that I've ridden. Also the least themed, so it loses a lot of marks there, but still definitely very fun. A surprisingly forceful layout for Vekoma for sure. Number 95 is Spinball Whizzer at Alton Towers. All of Alton Towers' coasters manage to get into my top 100, but Spinball Whizzer is the weakest. It's a Maura spinning coaster, and the layout, it does some stuff for me, like some good little lateral moments, but overall, it's pretty weak. Too many mid-courses, just doesn't ever really do much. Number 94 is Revolution at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. This is an Arrow-launched loop coaster, and I really liked it. I got a front row ride on my only ride on it, and I was surprised by the airtime, particularly on the backwards leg as you drop down before going into the loop. The loop is also quite forceful. Obviously, it's just a shuttle loop, but at the end of the day, I really thought this was quite a surprisingly thrilling coaster for something built in the late 70s. Number 93 is Flash Speed Force at Warner Brothers Movie World. I did mention there's a big gap between where I place Flash and where I place Surf Rider. I think Flash, since moving to Movie World, it has got better operations. I still think it has too short of a cycle. It definitely has better theming. And it's the same ride with a good bit of float. I'd like it to have a bit longer cycle. And I really, really do wish they took the opportunity to get rid of those over-the-shoulder restraints, as you'll hear next. Because coming in at number 92 is Ipanema Skate Ride at VinWonders Phu Quoc. Out of all the surf riders I've ridden, this is the best one, purely because it has the lap bars, which means you get to enjoy that beautiful floater airtime on the spikes a whole lot more. Absolutely fantastic in terms of how much it just floats you, particularly if you get on the upper side of your spinning seat at the peak of the spike. Really good floater airtime. Number 91 is Dinosaur Mountain at China Dinosaurs Park. Zamperla motorbike coaster indoors really set itself up like it was going to be beautifully themed. It's inside this glorious canyon side, and you walk through these tunnels with this great theming. The motorbikes are themed to pterodactyls. You get on the back of your pterodactyl. I find the Zamperla motorbike restraints are okay, and then the ride's just in the dark, and it doesn't really particularly have any great forces, nothing too spectacular, a few flashing lights, a few fast moments. That's about it. So nothing really to write home about. Number 90 is Comet at Walligator Grand Est. This is a Vekoma. It is similar to your Arrow Loop and Corkscrew models. I think it has a bit more oomph to it. I liked it better. It seems to just take everything a little bit faster with it, where Corkscrew Coaster, for example, seems to crawl through the corkscrews. Comet seems to take them with a bit more oomph. It was maybe marginally rougher, and it still, of course, does have those over-the-shoulder restraints, which are a problem. But overall, it was fine. We are into the 80s, and number 89 is Big Dipper at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I really liked this one. It's got a lot of history behind it, obviously, built in the 1920s. And I thought it was a fast and fun layout and surprisingly smooth and comfortable. I didn't think it was that rough at all. A lot faster, of course, than Scenic Railway. And definitely probably my favorite heritage coaster I've been on. A lot of fun. And yeah, a lot of history behind it as well. Definitely recommend. Number 88 is Stress Express at Fantawild Dreamland, my very first Vekoma Boomerang. Took me long enough to get on one of them. I was surprised by a few things. First of all, I really did enjoy this one because it has the Vekoma vest restraints, so no headbanging whatsoever. Really like that. I was surprised by how steep the lift hills are, and there was some good force to the inversions. I think overall, it's actually a surprisingly good shuttle layout, and I think they get a bad reputation mostly because of the discomfort and the headbanging. So since I got to ride one that has the vest restraints first up, I actually pretty well liked it. Number 87 is Poseidon at Europa Park. This is Europa Park's Mark water coaster. The theming here is brilliant, absolutely immaculate, as is the case with most of Europa Park. The layout is longer than Storm coasters. It has a bit more to offer, but it is also rougher, particularly through that kind of twister moment. The lateral side-to-side twists are quite rough and rattly, but overall, it's pretty good. It's got the same amount of flow to air time off its final drop that Storm Coaster does, so it's definitely the much stronger of the water coasters. Number 86 is 13 at Alton Towers. I loved 13. I wish they did a bit more with the story. The theming was there, it just didn't really do much in terms of telling a story, and I really feel like 13 sets itself up like it's going to do that. But overall, as a family coaster, it's good, it's fairly lengthy, it goes out through the woods, which gives you a real nice atmosphere about it. And then, of course, that surprise element at the end. If you don't know what it is by now, you know, I won't spoil it for you, but it's a lot of fun. I really liked it. It's a nice addition. Great ride. Maybe a bit short, but you know, it is what it is. Number 85 is Wave at Drayton Manor. I liked Wave. I thought it was a bit short, and I definitely can see why there would have been more appeal to it back when it was a stand-up coaster, because I felt like maybe the inversions just didn't have the force, particularly the zero-G roll, just didn't have the whip that I expected it to, and I think that maybe if my heartline was a little bit higher off the track, if I was standing up, then maybe that would have been different. The ART engineering trains that they've replaced the stand-up trains with, they were comfortable, but it did appear like there were some operational issues with them. So mixed bag. Didn't really like the queue overall. I thought it was pretty hot and stanky and dirty. And yeah, not a fan of the new theme. So I wish I got to ride it back when it was Shockwave. Number 84 is Battlestar Galactica Human at Universal Studios Singapore. This is the tamer side of the Battlestar Galactica dueling coaster. It just doesn't do a lot of anything, and I feel like the problem here is that what they've done is designed the human side specifically for the dueling interactions with the Cylon side, and as a result, it doesn't have a whole lot of particularly exciting moments itself. The first drop is quite good. I thought the first drop was really, really good, but the rest of the layout, yeah, pretty bland and uninspiring. It is smooth though. I would have been interested to see if there was a bit more kind of force back when it was a 4 across train rather than a 2 across. Number 83 is Super Roller Coaster at China Dinosaurs Park. This is one of the Jinmar super spinning coasters. These are a spinning coaster model that has an inversion. I was very interested to see how these would ride. I found them surprisingly smooth, really, really smooth. The only problem is that the mid-course brakes, they hit so hard all the time, they just take away all your momentum. And I really thought that it would have been a much better ride if that wasn't the case. The inversion was all right. I think that it could have done without the bulky over-the-shoulder restraints. A lap bar would have been fine, and that would have made that moment a whole lot more thrilling. But overall, it was good. It just needs to stop mid-course checking you so much. Number 82 is Rolling X Train at Everland. This is an arrow looping coaster with a double loop, double corkscrew, and then a nice helix to finish. It's not the most inspired layout of all time, but it was built in 1988, so what do you expect? And it's got the new trains on it, which are very, very comfortable, and I thought it was fun. I thought the loops were pretty forceful. Can't complain. Not too much arrow jankiness about it. It's pretty decent looping coaster. Middle of the range as far as they go. Number 81 is Vampire at Chessington World of Adventures. This is an Arrow suspended coaster, but it does have upgraded trains. So it doesn't have those ones with the full kind of car that is suspended from the rails. It does have a swinging kind of flawless suspended train. And I thought it was a lot of fun. I wasn't too inspired on my first ride. I did like the theming. You've got obviously the animatronic vampire playing the organ in the station. I thought that was really nice and it felt very atmospheric, but I didn't feel like it did much for me. On the second ride, I thought it had warmed up definitely, and there were a few moments where you like kind of dive down into trenches and you get a good bit of swing going on. So it's a fun ride. It's definitely starting to show its age, but I thought it was pretty good. Number 80 is Big Air at Ida Theme Park, the world's only Vekoma Big Air. I would have loved to see how much better this ride would have been if the spinning feature hadn't been disabled a long time ago. They had technical issues with the spinning feature way back when this ride opened in 2010, 2011, and it hasn't operated like that since. So it's just a straight U shuttle with a cable lift, but it is 200 feet tall, so it's huge. And the amount of float that you get on this thing is incredible. If you're looking for just pure floater airtime and weightlessness, this is the ride for you. It's absolutely spectacular. Still runs pretty smooth. Yeah, so it's nothing special. It is just a U shuttle, but it is just huge. All right, into the 70s. Coming in at number 79 is Terror Twister at Fantawild Dreamland. This is a Maurer Skyloop. I was blown away by how much room the operator gave me under my lap bar. I really don't feel like this is the kind of ride where you want room under your lap bar, but okay. Yeah, it ran fine. I expected it to run a lot worse, actually, but I would say it was pretty much on par with the one that we have in Australia, so it goes perfectly fine. Yeah, very, very intense. These rides are very, very intense. Number 78 is Buzzsaw, formerly at Dreamworld. I have switched my preferences, actually, on whether I preferred it as Buzzsaw or Project Zero, mainly because towards the end of its life, Buzzsaw did get very rough. It ran quite poorly, but I did also ride it earlier in its life and it was fine. The theming was basically non-existent, which was a letdown considering the teaser campaign that Dreamworld did back when it opened in 2011. But, you know, it's, again, a Maurer Skyloop. Very, very, very intense rides. Number 77, as expected, Project Zero at Gambaya World. Yeah, again, it runs a little bit better now. It is definitely in better hands, and well, I say that like it's been maintained better over the last few years, and the theming is still not like super impressive, but it's there at least. And yeah, again, super intense rides, these Maurer Skyloops. Number 76 is Trestura at Park Asterix. This is a fairly lengthy Mark bobsled coaster, opened in 2003. These things have a huge vibration just as a design quirk, I suppose. But other than that, they are a lot of fun. This one was pretty speedy. I liked it. Good fun, good little use of terrain as well. A little bit of rock work around the bobsled style track. So it was a lot of fun. I didn't mind it at all. Number 75 is Avalanche at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, the stronger of the bobsled coasters I've been on because it really has some strong lateral moments. Really whips you up the side of the track on some of those turns, and I think that's as a result of how compact that layout has to be to fit in at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. So definitely the better of the two. I really, really liked it, and I don't mind bobsled coasters one bit. Number 74 is Kumali at Flamingo Land. Probably the only Vekoma SLC I will ever, well, for now, will ever say that I really, really liked. I liked the layout. The inversions were different and it was surprisingly smooth despite still having those over-the-shoulder restraints. Didn't find it headbanged at all. And yeah, pretty forceful. Pretty strong coaster. Poor operations. They had half the train out of service and were still running super slow cycles. So that was really, really disappointing from them. But yeah, a fun and forceful SLC, if you can believe such a thing exists. Number 73 is Mine Train Coaster at Happy Valley, Shanghai. I was a little bit let down by this one. It's an Intamin Mine Train, a clone of Mine Train Ulven at Barken. And yeah, I just didn't find it did as much as I expected it to. It had some decent lateral moments, and the first drop was definitely much bigger than I thought it would be. Theming was pretty nice as well, but overall, yeah, it was definitely a mid-tier coaster at Happy Valley. It didn't do as much as I thought it would for me. Number 72 is Euromere at Europa Park. What a weird coaster this Mark spinning coaster is. That long spiral lift hill that goes forever. And then you've got that weird kind of hairpin wild mouse style section up there at the top of the towers, which is so bizarre. But then you do have a fast-paced little second half that I think is really, really good. The controlled spinning, it's a fun little quirk. I really wish that they let that ride run with free spinning. I think it would be a whole lot more interesting and a whole lot more forceful. Number 71 is Eurosat Can Coaster at Europa Park. I think slightly the stronger of the two. It feels a little bit like a Space Mountain, but it just lacks a little bit of that oomph. The theming, however, is very, very good. There's some really nice moments here. The station looks spectacular, and there's some really cool glow-in-the-dark elements. But the coaster itself is definitely a little bizarre and weird. Again, with that spiral lift hill, I don't know what Mark Rides were thinking with that. Number 70 is Screaming Condor at Liufu Village Theme Park, my one and only Intamin Impulse. It let me down a little bit. I really thought that the strength of this ride would be the flow to air time on those spikes. You really didn't get any, and in fact the only thing that the spikes really did for me is on the twisted spike. If you're sitting in the front, it kind of headbangs you a little bit. But the launch was very, very powerful. I love that LIM launch, and yeah, it was just a slight letdown. The operation's also not very good. Number 69 is Galactica at Alton Towers, my first B&M flying coaster, and the first B&M flying coaster. I can definitely see the appeal. It has a lot of fun elements, and it definitely adds a little bit of variety to be in that flying position, but it definitely does feel like a prototype. Like, it doesn't really do a whole lot that's particularly forceful or interesting. Definitely when you look at some of the later flying coasters, you can see where they've definitely perfected that model. But I still thought it was pretty fun, and I thought the operations were excellent. Number 68 is Mumbo Jumbo at Flamingo Land. This is an SNS El Loco, the 2-across model with the over-the-shoulder pad restraints, which kind of suck. They really ruin the whole experience. They're quite uncomfortable, but it is still a weird and funky layout. I love the SNS El Loco layout. It's pretty unique and fun. Yeah, I just wish it didn't have those shoulder pads. Number 67 is Colossus at Thorpe Park. Really a ride that could be so much better, and as you will see further on in my rankings, it can get better. Just needs not to have those bulky over-the-shoulder restraints on a ride that is so heavily focused on inversions, and particularly laterally heavy inversions. That's just really uncomfortable, and it probably needs a bit of retracking work because it is quite rough. But overall, I really thought it would be worse. I liked it quite a lot. Just that 10 inversion layout, like some of those moments, you can tell that Intamin are just trying to shoehorn in more inversions to get closer to the record. That quadruple barrel roll, we have to admit that that's a stupid element. Come on, guys. Number 66 is Flight of the Wicked Witch at Warner Brothers Movie World. Another Vekoma SFC. I really like this layout. It is surprisingly forceful. Slightly let down by a couple of things on this occasion. The theming is patchy. It's good in some parts and poor in others, basically non-existent in others. And also the operations here are very, very poor. I think it was the wrong choice of ride overall. Very low capacity for what Movie World were kind of looking for as a staple family attraction at a park that gets quite high crowds during peak periods. So probably not what they should have gone with, but it is still a decent enough family ride. Number 65 is Family Inverted Coaster at Happy Valley, Shanghai, a B&M family invert. pretty fun. I liked it. It's smooth. It's got a couple of moments of good force, particularly that final helix, which really has some good oomph to it. I really like the B&M family invert restraints, and yeah, overall can't say too much wrong about it. I slightly prefer the Vekoma layouts. I think they do just have that little bit more whip and oomph to them, but yeah, B&M's one's fine too. Number 64 is Giant Splash at Lotte World Adventure Busan. My one and only Mark Power Splash. These things have decent launches for a Mark Rides product, and they have some good float on those spikes. You really can get some good float. The splashdown is absolutely tremendous. Probably the biggest splashdown I've ever seen. It's absolutely huge. And it'll get you absolutely drenched, which would have been great if I wasn't in South Korea in January, because that is cold. So don't make the same mistake as me. Go in the summer months. Number 63 is Broken Rail Roller Coaster at Suzhou Amusement Land Forest World. A big surprise. I really thought, given my experience with Mount Tangula and the other Jinmar products they had been on up to that point, that this could be a particularly unpleasant ride. I was so wrong. It's very smooth. Very smooth. The inversions are a little forceless. Like, it could just, pick up that speed a little bit to give them a bit more whip and a bit more force. But the tilt track, builds great suspense. The vest restraints are slightly weird, but overall, it's a fairly decent coaster. Number 62 is Wild Mouse at Luna Park, Sydney. Oh, what a classic and absolutely brilliant ride. That roughness that it has, that like old school wooden charm, really just adds to the Wild Mouse experience. It's completely off the rails. It's bananas. The airtime, the laterals, it's great. It is short, but it is fantastic. Number 61 is Big Dipper at Luna Park, Sydney, just ahead of its neighbor at the park. This coaster, I can't hate it, but I just can't love it either. The second launch has good kick to it. There's a good moment of airtime in there. The inversions are pretty good. I love the Intamin restraints, but then it's got such a bad rattle in the back. It's far too short for what it is. I really think that Luna Park should not have gone with the prototype. And I think even considering COVID, it would have been a smarter idea, maybe even just to wait a couple of years on building the hot racer, because we've seen the improvements that have been made with Mahuka, and it looks like a lot of these issues have been solved, and I don't think it was the right choice at the time. It is what it is, and it's got a lot of good strengths, but it's got some weaknesses as well. Number 60 is Gold Coaster at Dreamworld. I have grown a lot of love for this thing. The vest restraints are very good. They really help improve the experience. The inversions are quite forceful, particularly the vertical loop, which I find is very forceful in the front. First half of the layout is a bit meandering and weird, but overall, for its history, the nostalgia it brings, and then that forceful second half, I love Gold Coaster. I think it's quite good. Number 59 is Wood Express at Park St. Paul. This is where we're starting to get into coasters that I have a really high opinion of. I love Wood Express. It has a very standard out and back layout, particularly by the Gravity Group standards. Usually they're a bit more creative than this, but I'm not going to complain because it is full of airtime. Every single one of those airtime hills hits with good flow-jector, and it's repetitive. It's repeated flow-jector airtime that just hits consistently, and sometimes you just gotta love that. It delivers on what's written on the box. Number 58 is Insane Speed at Janferson at Fancy World. Taylor Bybee can come and fight me. This ride is not bad at all. It's a good little B&M flawless, fun little layout, couple of really forceful inversions. Yes, it does have some seriously rough moments. I think the only moment that I would describe as really bad was the exit of the second corkscrew. That's where there was a really bad rattle after that. But the rest of the ride, definitely one of on the rougher end of the B&M spectrum that I've ridden so far. But overall, pretty forceful, good airtime off the straight first drop, powerful inversions, can't complain. Number 57 is Jungle Rush at Dreamworld. Brilliantly themed ride, and it's something that Dreamworld needed really to add. A good family ride with good theming, and I think it's been a fantastic addition for them. There's some good forceful moments to it, as we've come to expect from Vekoma family coasters in the modern era. They seem to like having just those little moments of oomph that give something for the adults and the thrill seekers in the audience. And the theming is really what makes it. And of course, that awesome turntable element as well is absolutely fantastic. Number 56 is Wild Train, formerly at Fantasiana. Oh my god, the world is going to miss this thing. This thing is ridiculous. The custom layout packs Wild Train, and that second half of the layout just has the most ridiculous airtime you'll ever experience. Surprisingly, better in the front. If you ride it in the front, well, if you rode it in the front, this thing just tried to launch you to the moon. It was absolutely astounding. Definitely not for everyone, because it could be slightly painful, but I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, and I love a bit of violent ejector like that. Number 55 is Mandrill Mayhem at Chessington World of Adventures. B&M launched Wing Coaster, Shuttle as well. Yeah, definitely not the most orthodox of introductions that Chessington could have made, but it's fun. I like it. The inversion has a good bit of hang time. I think that the twisted spike around the Jaguar statue was an interesting choice. It does feel a little slow paced and doesn't really do much, but the launches have good kick and there's good hang time in the inversion. It's got a lot to offer for what it is, and I think it gets a bad rap. It's definitely, it's not a perfect edition. I think it was, misguided in some ways, but it's a good coaster. Number 54 is Pegasus Express at Park Asterix, one of my favorite family coasters out there. It's a lot of fun. It's got a really awesome backward section that just has some really good pace to it and some nice force. Great theming as well. That cool little mid-show sequence is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, you can't miss this on a visit to Park Asterix. Don't let it pass you by. This is a brilliantly themed and fantastic family coaster. It's good and lengthy, and it offers something for everyone. Number 53 is Comet Express at Lotte World. How do I describe what this coaster is? So it's an Intamin twist and turn, and it's just got the most bizarre theming you'll ever see. You just have to see it to believe it. Fully indoors, dark with like your UV effects, so it's very, very spooky. And also, I got to ride this on my own in a car, and if you get the chance to do the same, I highly recommend it, because this thing will spin you out of control. It is crazy. Comet Express was definitely the surprise of the day. Number 52 is French Revolution at Lotte World. Another big surprise of the day. I expected this Vekoma Looper to be quite unpleasant. It was far from it. It was very comfortable, and there's some good forces in some of the moments. It's a little bit stop-start, and I'd say the layout's a bit short. They squeeze it into a tight little area of the indoor part of the theme park. But there's a good little tunnel, and then you dive off this drop, which has some awesome airtime in the back, and straight into that forceful and iconic vertical loop around the bridge. And then there's that awesome helix over the fountain as well. Yeah, don't miss French Revolution. It's fantastic. And number 51 is Abyss at Adventure World. We love Abyss. Brilliantly conceptualized theming. I don't think it's been executed as well as I would have liked, but it's a very forceful coaster, and despite the fact that it's become a bit rough and a bit of a headbanger, it does have some great ejector airtime, some forceful inversions, and it's just got this aura about it. I absolutely love it. It's a great addition for Adventure World, and I think it's become iconic of theme parks over there in Perth, so definitely get over there and ride it. Despite the fact that it's rough, you'll really enjoy it. It's a forceful and fun coaster. So that wraps up the first part of my rankings for 2025. Tomorrow I'll be dropping my top 50. I'll be going into slightly more detail about each of those 50 coasters as we count down towards revealing my number one as of the end of 2025. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to help out against the YouTube algorithm. And I will see you all in the next video. In the meantime, get out there and keep gaining credits. Bye-bye.